Good evening. This is All India Radio. I'm Abhishek Mukhopadhyay and with me is Prashant Kumar Sinha with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews COVID-19 situation, appreciates efforts of the centre, Delhi government in containing situation in Delhi. Drugs Controller General of India approves Itolizumab for restricted emergency use on COVID-19 patients. HRD Ministry formulates detailed standard operating procedure for conducting university examinations across the country. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu calls for adoption of environment-friendly architecture and designs in the country to address future health threats. And India's 2018 Tiger census sets a new Guinness World Record for being a largest camera trap wildlife survey. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviewed the COVID-19 situation in the country today. He took stock of the situation in various parts of the country and the preparedness of various states. Mr. Modi stressed on the need to observe personal hygiene and social discipline in public places. He said awareness about COVID-19 should be disseminated widely and a continuous emphasis should be laid on preventing spread of the infection. The Prime Minister reiterated that there is no room for any complacency in this regard. He appreciated the concerted efforts of the centre, state and local authorities in containing the pandemic situation in Delhi. Mr. Modi further directed that similar approach should be adopted with other state governments in containing the COVID-19 pandemic in the entire NCR area. The successful example of surveillance and home-based care through Dhanvantri Rath in Ahmedabad was highlighted as it was directed that it may be emulated in other places. The Prime Minister also directed that real-time national-level monitoring and guidance should be provided to all affected states and places with high test positivity rate. The review meeting was attended by Union Home Minister Amit Shah, Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan, Member Niti Aayog, Cabinet Secretary and other senior officials. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated Lee Hsien Loong for his victory in the Singapore general elections. Mr. Loong's People's Action Party emerged victorious in the general elections in Singapore today, securing his seat as the Prime Minister for the fourth time in a row. Mr. Modi wished a peaceful and prosperous future for the people of Singapore.
The total number of people recovered from coronavirus today crossed the 5 lakh mark. The central government today said a total of 5,15,386 people affected with coronavirus have recovered in the country so far. In the past 24 hours, 19,873 people recovered from COVID-19, and with this the recovery rate has reached to 62.78%. In terms of recovery rate, the top 5 states and union territories are Ladakh, Chhattisgarh, Uttarakhand, Delhi and Rajasthan, wherein the recovery rate is above 76%. In terms of number of people recovered from the coronavirus, Maharashtra stands at top position, followed by Delhi and Tamil Nadu. There are 19 states and union territories which are above the national average of recovery rate. The Health and Family Welfare Ministry said a total of 27,114 new cases of COVID-19 were reported in the country in the last 24 hours, taking the total number of cases to 8,20,916. This is the highest number of fresh cases recorded in India since the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic in the country. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is at 2,83,407. In a single day, 519 deaths were reported, taking the nationwide toll to 22,123. With this, the case fatality rate reached to 2.69% in the country. Meanwhile, the Indian Council of Medical Research, ICMR, said that a total of 282,511 tests of coronavirus samples were conducted by the various laboratories in the country within the past 24 hours. So far, 1,13,07,002 tests have been conducted. The ICMR is continuously scaling up its testing facilities for COVID-19 by giving approval to government and private laboratories. As of now, a total of 1,180 laboratories across India have been given approval to conduct the test for COVID-19. This includes 841 government laboratories and 339 private laboratory chains. A total of 1,781 new confirmed cases of coronavirus were reported in Delhi during the past 24 hours, taking the total number of cases to 1,10,921. The Delhi government has confirmed that over 87,000 people affected with the coronavirus have been cured so far. In the past 24 hours, 2,998 people have recovered and 34 deaths were reported in the national capital, taking the toll to 3,334.
The Drugs Controller General of India has approved itolizumab for restricted emergency use on COVID-19 patients with moderate to severe acute respiratory distress syndrome. Drugs Controller General of India has approved itolizumab injection for the treatment of cytokine released syndrome in moderate to severe acute respiratory distress syndrome in patients due to COVID-19. After satisfactory result from clinical trials, the drug was approved. Itolizumab injection is already an approved drug of Biocon Limited, used for treatment of patients with active moderate to severe psoriasis. Rashtriya Chemicals and Fertilizers Limited (RCF) has introduced a skin-friendly moisturizer-based hand cleansing gel RCF Safe Roller. A PSU under the Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers (RCF) has informed that the gel contains isopropyl alcohol and aloe vera extract. RCF has fixed the price for its hand cleansing gel at 25 rupees for 50 millimeters and 50 rupees for 100 milliliter bottle. The PSU has said that the safe and reasonably priced option is aimed at containment of the current pandemic amidst the ensuing demand for hand sanitizers.
While speaking to DD News, Deepak Paliwal, a Jaipur-born United Kingdom resident who volunteered for COVID vaccine, said that he is delighted to be part of a scientific development which is likely to benefit humanity. The Oxford vaccine, which is being developed by researchers at the Oxford University, AstraZeneca and the Serum Institute of India, is into the human trial phase. Mr. Paliwal said that he always wanted to do something for the benefit of humanity.
हम लोग फार्मा बैकग्राउंड से ही हैं, तो उनको ये भी पता था कि हाँ रिस्क है और उनको रोज काम पे जाना था ड्यूरिंग द कोविड ट्रायल, बिकॉज वो तो एक फार्मासिस्ट हैं तो उनको जाना जरूरी है. अब नाउ शी सपोर्ट करती हैं. अब ठीक है, नाराजगी तो थी लेकिन अब भी खुश हैं, प्राउड फील करते होंगे कि हाँ हमने कुछ ऐसा किया जो केवल हमारे लिए फायदे की बात नहीं है. उसमें एक बंदे की फायदे की बात नहीं है, ना फैमिली के फायदे की बात है, एक सभी दुनिया के सभी लोगों के लिए, समाज के लिए है.
Information and Broadcasting Minister Mr. Prakash Javadekar has requested Home Minister Amit Shah to hold state-wise review of COVID-19 situation. In a tweet, he urged the Home Minister about not only Maharashtra but also to hold state-wise review of other states where coronavirus pandemic is posing a serious problem.
In Assam, lockdown period has been extended at Kamrup Metro District, including Guwahati city, for another week. Chief Secretary Kumar Sanjay Krishna in an order said the lockdown will be continued till 7 p.m. on the 19th of July. The ongoing 14-day lockdown was supposed to come to an end tomorrow. In Uttar Pradesh, shops and business establishments other than those dealing with essential services remain closed today after the government imposed restrictions across the state. The restrictions will be enforced till 5 a.m. on Monday in the state following the surge in coronavirus cases. Meanwhile, special sanitation drive has been launched in the state to keep communicable diseases at bay. A report.
Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath is himself monitoring and reviewing the sanitation drive which has been launched in rural and urban areas of all 75 districts of the state. Today, Chief Minister also inaugurated 7 new testing labs for COVID-19 patients. Now there is minimum 1 lab available in all divisions of state. Currently, more than 1,40,000 health teams are involved in the screening process all over the state. Chief Minister stressed upon maintaining extra vigilance in Jhansi, Kanpur City and Mathura districts. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
In Gujarat, Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation has added 17 new areas in the micro-containment zones while removed 1 area from the list. New 17 areas have been added in the micro-containment zones after detections of new cases. More from a correspondent.
More new cases of infections have been reported from other districts and small towns apart from Surat, Ahmedabad and Vadodara. According to official sources, rural areas of Surat district reported 67 new cases, while 59 new cases reported from Bhavnagar during the last 24 hours. Meanwhile, Association of Clock Manufacturing Units in Morbi has decided to shut its units for a week from tomorrow. This decision has been taken to prevent the further spread of COVID-19. More than 25,000 workers, mostly women from nearby villages, are working in more than 175 such units. Yogesh Pandya, ARI News, Ahmedabad.
With 2,798 new COVID cases today, Karnataka continues to face a surge in the pandemic. Addressing media persons in Bengaluru today, the Medical Education Minister, Dr. K. Sudhakar, said that tracing, tracking, testing and treatment will be further intensified. He also added that along with RT-PCR tests, the antigen tests that give results within half an hour will be carried out in Bengaluru. More from our correspondent.
When asked whether the government is mulling over extending lockdown on Saturdays along with the existing lockdown on Sundays, Medical Education Minister Dr. K. Sudhakar said the Chief Minister will take a call on this matter. The Deputy Chief Minister Dr. C.N. Ashwath Narayan has felt that lockdown can only defer number of COVID cases but will not help in containing it. Meanwhile, the CM office has informed that Mr. Yediyurappa will hold video conference with the district deputy commissioners, CEOs, senior police officers on Monday to assess the pandemic situation across the state. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Edappadi Palaniswamy has asked the centre to permit the states to take a decision on holding college examinations based on locally prevailing COVID-19 conditions. In a letter to the Human Resource Development Minister, Mr. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank, today, he said the states may be allowed to work out their own methods of assessing students' performance without compromising on quality and academic credibility. Meanwhile, in Tamil Nadu, the total number of COVID-19 cases has crossed the 134,000 mark, with 3,965 people testing positive today. More from our correspondent.
The Chief Minister's letter comes in the wake of the new guidelines issued by the University Grants Commission last Monday. It mandated the institutions to conduct examinations by this September for the final semester students. The Chief Minister has said there are several constraints, including the students' ability to reach the examination centers, as many of them are currently residing outside the district or the state. He has reasoned that most of the colleges, including the hostels and classrooms in the state, have been converted into COVID care centers, and the arrangement may continue for some more time. Jai Singh, AIR News, Chennai.
Kerala continued to report spike in COVID cases, with 488 new positive cases been confirmed today. The state also reported 2 COVID deaths, taking the death toll due to the state to 29. Among the new cases, 234 persons contracted the disease through contact, creating an alarming situation. Alapura district reported the highest number of cases today. Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan informed that the Break the Chain campaign need to be strengthened as contact COVID cases are on a rise across the state. Meanwhile, 143 persons recovered from the disease today in the state. Presently, 3,442 active cases are there in the state. In Nagaland, and the 5 more cases of COVID-19 positive have been reported this afternoon. Health Minister S. Phangnuyuphom tweeted that all the new cases were confirmed from Tuensang. Besides, 9 more patients have also recovered from Tuensang COVID-19 care centre. However, they are kept under strict surveillance, the minister added. With the addition of 11 cases reported earlier this morning, 7 from Kohima, 3 from Mon and 1 from Mokokchung, the total positive cases in Nagaland has gone up to 748. The active cases in the state stands at 435 and 313 patients have been recovered. No death has been reported so far.
In Mizoram, the state government has announced more relaxations to the ongoing partial lockdown restrictions. The government has lifted the restrictions on the entry of vehicles carrying non-essential commodities into the state, and that has come into effect from today. An official statement informed that all categories of vehicles are now permitted to enter into the state. Following a sudden surge in COVID-19 cases in Meghalaya, the state government has declared a 2-day lockdown on the 13th and 14th of July in the East Khasi Hills district. The state witnessed one of the highest surges of 47 cases in a single day taking the total number of active cases to 236. Out of the cases reported today, 30 are BSF personnel and 17 civilians, out of which 8 are the contacts of wedding attendees at the Greenwood Resort, Guwahati last month. Out of the total 236 active cases as of today, 159 account from the BSF, 2 from the Indian Air Force, 24 civilians from the East Khasi Hills District, 20 from Rebhoi District, 2 from East Jaintia Hills District, and 9 from West Garo Hills District. Announcing the 2-day lockdown, Chief Minister Conrad Sangma said that the next 2 working days shall be observed in Shillong City agglomeration region as lock down the virus through behavior change. You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews COVID-19 situation, appreciates efforts of the centre and Delhi government in containing the situation in Delhi. Drugs Controller General of India approves itolizumab for restricted emergency use on COVID-19 patients. HRD Ministry formulates detailed standard operating procedure for conducting university examinations across the country. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu calls for adoption of environment-friendly architecture and designs in the country to address future health threats. And India's 2018 Tiger Census sets a new Guinness World Record for being a largest camera trap wildlife survey. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
The Human Resource Development Ministry has formulated a detailed standard operating procedure SOP for conducting university examinations in the country. The SOP, formulated in association with the Ministry of Home Affairs and Ministry of Health, have been devised to ensure student safety, fairness and equal opportunity amid the global pandemic due to COVID-19. Union HRD Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal has informed that the UGC has issued a guideline to conduct all the examinations of the terminal semester in the universities by 30th of September this year. He said these exams will be conducted through offline, online or mixed mode. HRD Minister informed that in case any student of final year is unable to appear in these examinations, the student will be given an opportunity at a later stage. Mr. Pokhriyal asserted that ensuring academic credibility, career opportunities and progress of students holds prime importance in the education system. He added that the educational evaluation of students is a very important milestone in any education system. Delhi government has cancelled all examinations in its state universities due to COVID pandemic. In a virtual media briefing, Delhi's Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia informed that the state universities in the national capital will not hold any term examinations or final year examinations this year. He said a progressive mechanism will be devised to evaluate the students based on internal assessments and previous course. Mr. Sisodia asserted that in a situation where classes were not held for the entire term, it would be unfair to hold examinations and evaluate students. He said the state universities will come up with more details on the evaluation scheme at a later stage. However, he maintained that decision regarding examinations in the central universities of the capital city will be taken by the centre. Delhi has 8 state universities including Ambedkar University, Delhi Pharmaceutical Science and Research University, Netaji Subhash University of Technology, Delhi Technological University, Guru Govind Singh Indraprasth University, Indira Gandhi Delhi Technical University for Women, Indraprasth Institute of Information Technology and National Law University.
Delhi Chief Minister Mr. Arvind Kejriwal today wrote to Prime Minister Narendra Modi demanding cancellation of final year examinations in all universities in view of the COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Kejriwal said the University Grants Commission has asked universities and colleges to conduct offline and online examinations for final semester students, and the decision has caused anger amongst youths, teachers and students. He said all believe that the decision is wrong and it must be withdrawn. Mr. Kejriwal urged the Prime Minister to personally intervene and cancel final year examinations of Delhi University and other central universities. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has called for adoption of environment-friendly architecture and designs in the country to address future health threats. He was addressing the inaugural ceremony of the National Conference of the Indian Institute of Architects virtually today. Mr. Naidu urged architects and designers to answer the challenges posed by the pandemic through modification in their designs. He said the design and architecture fraternity needs to regroup and look for solutions to the problems created by the current crisis while while envisioning ways to tackle future threats. The Vice President emphasized that structures should be built in such a way that enough natural light and ventilation is available for the residents. He asserted that the aim of modern structures should not only be to provide shelter and security, but also to provide comfort and safety. Mr. Naidu called for novel thoughts and ideas for building environment-friendly structures which can be sustained on renewable energy sources. He also asked for engaging local artists and artisans for construction and design-related works in smart city projects. Such engagements, he said, would not only preserve the regional culture, but will also provide employment to many people in the country.
The fourth cycle of the All India Tiger Estimation 2018 has entered the Guinness World Record for being the world's largest camera trap wildlife survey. Terming this achievement as a great moment, Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar said in a tweet that this is a shining example of Atmanirbhar Bharat, which was attained through Sankalp Se Siddhi. The Environment Minister said that under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, India has fulfilled its resolve to double the tiger numbers 4 years before the target. The country now has an estimated 2,967 tigers as per the latest census. With this number, India is home to nearly 75% of the global tiger population and has already fulfilled its resolve of doubling tiger numbers made at St. Petersburg in 2010, well ahead of the target year of 2022. The citation at the Guinness World Record website says the fourth iteration of the survey conducted in 2018-19 was the most comprehensive to date in terms of both resource and data amassed. Camera traps were placed in 26,838 locations across 141 different sites and surveyed an effective area of 1,21,337 square kilometers. From the photographs, 2,461 individual tigers were identified using stripe pattern recognition software. The All India Tiger Estimation done quadrennially is steered by the National Tiger Conservation Authority with technical backstopping from the Wildlife Institute of India and implemented by the state forest departments and partners. The latest results of 2018 had shown that India now has an estimated 2,967 tigers, out of which 2,461 individual tigers have been photo captured. Railway Minister Piyush Goyal has said that Indian Railways will be the largest railway in the world to have 100% electrification, replacing diesel. He expressed hope that it will be the world's first green railways running on 100% clean energy by 2030. Addressing the India Global Week 2020, he said the government is open up for bidding for additional 151 trains, inviting private participation so the passengers can enjoy world-class facilities and high-speed journeys.
In Madhya Pradesh, more than 24,000 migrant labourers have already got permanent employment through the Rozgar Setu portal. This includes 79.5% men and 20.5% women.
The Additional Chief Secretary, Labour Department, Dr. Rajesh Rajora, has informed that job card of around 3,55,000 migrant labourers have been prepared. Along with this, employment has been provided to 1,89,000 migrant labourers under MG Narega. Registration of 3,40,000 migrant labourers eligible under the Sambal Yojana has also been done, while under the Atmanirbhar Bharat and National Food Security Act, ration is being distributed every month to more than 13 lakh migrant labourers. Out of the 2,06,000 children of the migrant labourers, more than 75,000 children aged between 6 to 14 years have been enrolled in schools. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people in the country and abroad in the Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio on the 26th of this month. It will be the 67th episode of the monthly radio program. In a tweet, Mr. Modi has asked people to share inspiring anecdotes of how collective efforts have brought about positive changes and transformed many lives. People can send their inputs for Mann Ki Baat by dialing 1800-117800 and recording a message. They can also share inputs on the specially created open forum on the Namo app or on mygov.in. The Mann Ki Baat program will be broadcast on the entire network of All India Radio and Doordarshan and also on the AIR News website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR mobile app. It will also be streamed live on the YouTube channels of AIR, DD News, PMO and Information and Broadcasting Ministry. AIR will broadcast the program in regional languages immediately after the Hindi broadcast. The regional language versions will be repeated at 8 in the evening.
In Maharashtra, days after the Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray called for simple and low-key Ganesh Utsav celebrations this year, owing to COVID-19 pandemic, the state government has today released the guidelines for Ganesh Utsav pandals. Ganesh Utsav is the most popular festival in Maharashtra. The pandals set up by various mandals in Mumbai and other places in the state attract thousands of devotees during the 10-day festivities. This year's Ganesh Utsav festivities start on the 22nd of August and will last 11 days, concluding with the immersion of Lord Ganesha's idols. We have a report from a correspondent.
As the number of coronavirus cases soar in Maharashtra, the state government has issued relevant guidelines for this year's Ganesh Utsav celebration. As per the guidelines, the Ganesh idol height in community pandals must be limited to 4 feet, while height of Ganpati idols at home must be limited to 2 feet. Instead of traditional Ganesh idols, the state government has urged people to bring eco-friendly Ganesh idols. It has urged community Ganesh mandals to organize awareness health camps on dengue, malaria, COVID-19 or organize blood donation drives instead of cultural programs. The state government said that if possible, the mandals must make arrangements for online darshan to avoid crowding in the pandals. Sweetie Jain, AR News, Mumbai.
In Chhattisgarh, amid the COVID-19 pandemic, an E-Lok Adalat was held today. Under the E-Lok Adalat, the virtual hearings were conducted through video conferencing. More from a correspondent.
Under the E-Lok Adalat, the virtual hearings of the pending cases were being conducted through video conferencing. The executive chairman of the Chhattisgarh State Legal Services Authority, Justice Prashant Kumar Mishra, said that over 3,000 cases were heard in around 200 benches of 23 districts across the state, including the High Court in Bilaspur. The live streaming of the E-Lok Adalat was also being done. All district courts and Tehsil courts, along with the High Court, were part of the E-Lok Adalat. According to the Chhattisgarh government, this is the first time in the country that Lok Adalat was being held through video conferencing. Vikalp Shukla, AIR News, Raipur.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi will witness a minimum temperature of 24 degrees Celsius and maximum around 35 degrees Celsius with generally cloudy sky with light rain. Mumbai will witness generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The minimum temperature will be 27 degrees Celsius and the maximum temperature will be around 33 degrees Celsius. Down south, Chennai will see a generally cloudy sky with light rain. The temperature will hover between 23 and 34 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will witness partly cloudy sky with a few spells of rain or thunderstorms. The minimum temperature in the metropolis will be 28 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 34 degrees Celsius. On to the north, in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature will be 26 degrees Celsius in Jammu, while maximum will be around 34 degrees Celsius. The city will observe partly cloudy skies with a possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. In Srinagar, the minimum temperature will be 18 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 32 degrees Celsius. The city will observe partly clear sky with a few spells of rain or thunder showers or dust storms. In Gilgit, the temperature will hover between 18 and 32 degrees Celsius and thunderstorm with rain. In Muzaffarabad, there will be partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunder or dust storm. It will witness minimum temperature of 22 degrees Celsius, while maximum temperature will be around 36 degrees Celsius. Chandigarh will witness cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature in the city will be at 25 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 34 degrees. In Dehradun, the temperature will hover between 24 and 32 degrees Celsius and will have cloudy sky with possibility of heavy rain or thunderstorm. In Hyderabad, the minimum temperature will be at 23 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 31 degrees Celsius. The city will have generally cloudy sky with intermittent rain. Bangalore will witness minimum temperature of 21 degrees Celsius and maximum 27 degrees Celsius and generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Ahmedabad will witness a generally cloudy sky with light rain. The minimum and maximum temperature will be around 27 degrees and 35 degrees Celsius respectively.
And now, before we end, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews COVID-19 situation, appreciates efforts of the centre, Delhi government in containing situation in Delhi. Drugs Controller General of India approves Itolizumab for restricted emergency use on COVID-19 patients. HRD Ministry formulates detailed standard operating procedure for conducting university examinations across the country. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu calls for adoption of environment-friendly architecture and designs in the country to address future health threats. And India's 2018 Tiger Census sets a new Guinness World Record for being the largest camera trap wildlife survey. And for details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR app. And that is all in the evening news. Good night.